Good morning. Today we will start our next chapter, that is structure of chromosome, cell cycle and cell division. Now, first of all, why cell division is necessary? Why it is necessary? Now, in order to grow, okay, cell division is necessary. A living organism cannot grow till the cell will divide. Only when the cell will divide, living things can grow. And also to repair the injured cells, and also to repair the injured cells, and to like there are few cells which has to be replaced, like old ones, they have to be replaced. That's why this is necessary. Cell division is necessary. Now, before I will tell you the structure of chromosome, there are few things, very basic things that you must have read in the previous class. I want to explain those things before. Okay, this is the structure of nucleus, all right, and here we have a small nucleoli, and here you can see the thread-like structures which are known as chromatin fibers. Now, these chromatin fibers during the cell division, they condense and form chromosome. All right, so this is the, again I am just going to tell you again this thing, that this is a structure of the nucleus, and in this nucleus we have a nucleoli, and in the nucleus we have the chromatin fibers, and outside the nucleus we have the nuclear membrane also. But these chromatin fibers, whenever a cell division occurs, these chromatin fibers, they get condensed, they get coiled, they get condensed thick, and then they form this structure that is known as chromosomes. Now children, please note one thing, that while I will be explaining these all terms, there are few terms which look very similar, but they are not similar. So you need to watch this video very carefully, you need to hear me very carefully in order to differentiate between these terms, like chromatin fibers, chromosomes, and there is one more term, chromatid. So please don't get confused in these all terms, okay? Chromatin fibers are the long thread-like structures which are present inside the nucleus. What are chromatin fibers? They are the long thread-like structure which are present inside the nucleus. And when the cell division occurs, when the cell divides, they duplicate, they get coiled with each other. I am talking about the chromatin fibers. They get coiled with each other, they become condensed, they become thin, and then they form chromosomes. Then they form chromosomes. Now, what are chromatids? Here you can see the structure. Can you see? This one and this one. Actually, this single one is a chromatid. This single one is a chromatid. And when the whole chromosome is formed, it is formed by the combination of two chromatids. It is formed by the combination of two chromatids. That means one chromatid, not chromosome. We will call it chromatid. Another chromatid. When these two chromatids, they come closer, they become condensed, they form a full chromosome. Okay. So this is chromatid. This is chromatid, and another chromatid is known as sister chromatid. Another chromatid is known as sister chromatid. So this is the structure of the chromosome. Now, if I'll ask you what is chromatin fiber, what you will say? Chromatin fibers, they are the thread-like structures. Chromatin fibers are the thread-like structures which lie inside the nucleus. And what about the chromosome? What are these? These are the highly coiled and condensed chromatin fibers. I hope these three terms you are able to understand what is the differentiate. How can we differentiate between these three terms? Chromatin fibers and chromosomes. All right. Okay. Now, so who discovered these chromosomes first of all? So these chromosomes are discovered by Walther Fleming 1882. He was a German scientist who discovered chromosomes, all right, and he discovered these chromosomes in salamander. It is an amphibian. He discovered these chromosomes in the larvae of the salamander. Now, another thing is that why do we call why these chromatin fibers, when they get condensed, why do we call them only chromosomes? Why not another name? Because see, if we will see the nucleus of a cell under a microscope without dyeing it, okay, without coloring it, without dyeing it, we will not be able to see these chromatin fibers, okay. Only when we will put dye on the slide, then only we will be able to see these chromosomes, these colorful chromosomes. So actually chromosomes means, chroma means colorful, chroma means colorful, and next soma means body. So chromosome means, chroma means colorful and soma means body. So together it forms colorful body. That's why these condensed, these ones, these thick and condensed form of chromatin fibers, we call them as chromosomes. Now children, in human being or in an organism, they have two types of cell division. One is meiotic, another one is mitosis. So in our scope, we will be studying about the mitosis. Now what is mitosis? Mitosis, it is a cell division which occurs only in the growth cells. And meiosis, it is a division which occurs in reproductive cells. So we will study about the mitosis. But before that, we will study about these all things, chromosomes and DNA. Now, next, here I have told you about the chromosome. Now, chromosome is present inside the nucleus. Now, what does it has? What does it contain? Chromosome contains DNA. Chromosome contains DNA, and in the DNA, it has genes. Alright, what did I say? Chromosomes contain DNA and DNA has genes. Genes are the hereditary characters that we get from our parents. That's why we look alike our parents, you know. Why we have, like supposing your mother or father, they are having brown colored eyes. So you might be, if you are two siblings or maybe one, then any one of you might be having those brown colored eyes. If your parents are tall, you are supposed to be tall, you know. Why is it so? These all are the genetic characters that we acquire from our parents, okay. So in this chapter, this is what we are going to learn. So here I was telling you about the chromosomes, okay. Now, so chromosome contains DNA and DNA contains the genes or genetic characters, or we can say hereditary characters that we acquire from our parents. Now, this chromatin fiber, if we talk about the chromatin fiber, it consists of two things. One is DNA, another one is histone proteins, okay. One is DNA, another one is histone proteins. Now, what is the quantity of the DNA which is present in the chromatin fiber, and what is the quantity of the histone proteins? 40% of the DNA is present in the chromatin fiber and 60% is histone proteins. They are present in the chromatin fiber, okay. Now let's do a little little bit of history of the DNA, because we are going to study about the DNA first. First of all, Rosalind Franklin in 1953, she studied a little bit structure of DNA. After that, a proper model of DNA, it was found by Watson and Crick, okay, and they named the DNA model as double stranded helical structure. For this model, they were awarded with the Nobel Prize in year 1962. Okay, so this was the structure which is known as double stranded helical structure. Now, why do we say double stranded? Because it is having double strands. One is this one, another one is this one, okay. So one strand is having the complementary strand. You can see one strand and the second strand, and it is of helical shape. That's why it is known as double stranded helical structure, okay. And a single unit of DNA is very large, very big. So that's why we call it as macromolecule. What did I say? I said a single unit of DNA is very large. That's why we call it as macromolecule. Now, in the DNA is made up of these things. What are those? Phosphate, pentose sugar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pentose sugar and nitrogenous bases. These all three together are known as nucleotide. These all three together are known as nucleotide. So we can say that DNA is composed of nucleotide here. Nucleotide. Okay. So please, I am going to tell you, I am going to talk about the three terms that starts with N. Okay. So please be very careful. The first one is nucleotide, nitrogenous base and nucleosomes. Okay. So what is nucleotide? Nucleotide are these three things. What are those? Phosphate, sugar and nitrogenous base. And if I am talking about the nitrogenous base, what are those? Those are guanine, those are guanine, adenine, thymine and cytosine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So these nitrogen bases are guanine, adenine, thymine and cytosine. Okay. So here guanine always forms a bond with cytosine. Okay. Guanine always forms a bond with cytosine and they form bonds with the help of hydrogen bond. They form bond with the help of hydrogen bond, and here between the guanine and cytosine they have 3 bonds. Okay. And adenine, it always forms bond with thymine. Adenine always forms bond with thymine and they are having 2 hydrogen bonds. Okay, let me repeat myself again. What did I say? I said that these 3 things make up the nucleotide in a DNA. We call them the nucleotide. This is phosphate, sugar and they are having nitrogen bases. And in nitrogenous bases, what are the things we have? We have 3 bases: guanine, adenine, thymine and cytosine. They form the pair. Okay, they form the pair and they always make bond with the help of a hydrogen bond. Between guanine and cytosine, they always form 3 hydrogen bond. Okay, and between adenine and thymine, they always form 2 hydrogen bond. That is double hydrogen bond. Now here you can see the structure. Here you will be able to understand it more. One strand and another complementary strand. In the one strand here, it is having guanine, which is making a bond with cytosine with 3 hydrogen bonds. And here we have adenine, then here thymine, which is making a bond by 2 hydrogen bonds. Here again guanine, cytosine, adenine, thymine. There is no like systematic way that this is the way that guanine and cytosine will arrange themselves. No, they can arrange themselves in any order. Okay. So, but always remember that guanine will always form bond with cytosine and adenine will always form with thymine. And also the adenine and thymine will always form a double hydrogen bond and guanine and cytosine will always form triple hydrogen bond. Alright. So here also I have made 2 type of structure. One is simple helical structure. Another one I have taken the symbols of these nucleotide. The first one, phosphate, sugar, base. Phosphate, sugar, base. Here this one up to here it is one strand. Okay. One strand contains 3 things. One strand contains 3 things. What are those? Phosphate, sugar and 1 nitrogen base. This is the complementary strand. This strand, complementary, opposite strand, which again contains 1 nitrogenous base, pentose sugar and the phosphate group. Alright. And here we can see we have adenine and thymine. So they must be having double hydrogen bond and between them they must be having triple hydrogen bond. I hope that up to this the whole DNA structure is understood and you have understood everything. All right. Again, I just want to just explain few things again, so that because it is one of the most important thing that is given in your book this time, and this is very important because most of the time in the board exam, lot of questions are put from the structure of DNA. Okay. So again, history. The first of all, this was discussed. This was studied by the Rosalind Franklin in year 1953. Then further on, Watson and Crick, they gave the double-stranded helical structure in 1962. All right, and according to them, a DNA molecule, it consists of nucleotide, phosphate, nucleotide. It consists of a nucleotide, and that nucleotide, repeated nucleotides. It consists of repeated nucleotides, and each nucleotide consists of phosphate, sugar, and nitrogenous bases. That I have told you what are the nitrogen bases. It is having guanine, adenine, thymine, and cytosine. So this is all about the structure of DNA. If you will make these structures, I would request you to make these both structures. These are the symbols that we are using for the nucleotides, and this is the simple helical structure that we are making. Okay. Now next, histones. Now this is all about the DNA. I was telling you that in the chromatin fiber, what are the things it is made up of? Chromatin fiber or chromosome, they are made up of DNA or histone. Chromatin fiber is made up of DNA or histone proteins. Now what about the histone proteins? If I'll talk about the histone proteins, alright. Now let's talk about the histone proteins. In the DNA, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 histone proteins. Each chromatin fiber is made up of 8 histone proteins. Okay? Each chromatin fiber is made up of 8 histone protein, and around it, it is surrounded by DNA. Okay? We call it histone octamer. We call it histone octamer. And each histone octamer, it is surrounded by DNA. And now children, you know what is the length of a DNA? The length of the DNA is 2 meter. If we will keep it from end to end, we will stretch it, it is 2 meter, and it lies in the nucleus, which is only 6 micrometer. Okay, it lies inside the nucleus, which is only 6 micrometer. Then in order to fit inside such a small nucleus, it has to coil. Okay, it has to condense and it has to coil. And how does it coil? That I am going to make here. So please try to understand. Like you must have seen the earlier phones, or you must be having landline at your home. You must have seen that how they are coiled. Okay, they are coiled, then they are super coiled. Okay, in this way, this chromatin fiber or this histone protein, they are coiled and super coiled in order to form chromosome. Let us start from the histone protein. Supposing these are 8 histone proteins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they will be, and the DNA winds them like this. Supposing, for example, supposing you can take the example of football. Football here is acting as a protein, okay, and around the football, if you have a thread around it, okay, if you have a thread around it, that thread will work as a DNA which surrounds it. Okay, in the same way, the DNA, inside the DNA we have 8 histone octamer, and this is known as nucleosome. This is known as nucleosome. So each structural unit of this protein or each structural unit of DNA is known as nucleosome. Now, if I will ask you what is histone, okay, what is a histone protein? So this is the histone protein is the one which helps in the coiling of the DNA, all right, which helps in the coiling of the DNA and packaging of DNA as a structural unit and packaging of DNA as a structural unit. So, you know, you can say that a chromosome is having millions of nucleosomes in it. Okay, so what is a nucleosome? Nucleosome is something which consists of 8 histone protein surrounded by the DNA. Now DNA has surrounded the 8 histone proteins, so we call it nucleosome. Now after that, this will coil along with 8 histone coiled, super coiled. It will coil and it will make what? It will make chromatin fibers. They will make chromatin fibers. Then they will keep on coiling, they will keep on super coiling, then they will be super coiled, and they will make what? They will make chromatids. Okay, and finally they will make a chromosome. Okay, so by coiling and super coiling, okay, by coiling and super coiling, at the end they will, all the chromatin fibers, they will get condensed, they will become thick, and they will form chromosome. Okay, did you understand? I just want to repeat it again. What did I say? I said histone protein forms a histone octamer. That means there are 8 histone proteins that are surrounded by a DNA. This single unit is known as nucleosome. This single unit along DNA surrounded around the 8 histone proteins is known as 8 histone proteins plus DNA known as nucleosome. Okay, so when these two together they form and DNA surrounds this 8 histone proteins, we call them nucleosome. And then these nucleosome, they coil, keep on coiling and forming chromatin fibers, and further on chromatin fibers coiled and super coiled and finally give rise to chromosomes. Okay, so this chromosome arises whenever there is a cell division. So that's all for today's session. Kindly watch this video nicely, and if you have any question, kindly put the questions on the eCare app so that I can help you out in understanding this thing more nicely. Okay, because this is something very important, and this is the basic of genetics. If you will understand this, you will not get any difficulty in the coming chapters that are also related to the genetics. Thank you. Have a nice day.